There, your majesty. Do you see it now? The alignment is complete.
By the gods. What does this mean for us?
You amuse me, boy. Now get out of my sight!
Follow me. High ground. Get to the ziggurat now. Don't look back. Keep moving.
We have to keep moving. He can't hold it forever. Go, quickly!
What you have just witnessed is no mere legend. It is a glimpse of a world engulfed by the wrath of heaven and earth. What if everything you thought about the flood was a lie? Hidden in the oldest texts, a secret chapter whispers of giant creatures so powerful they reshaped the world. Could they be the real reason humanity was wiped out? Stay with me, and the truth will shock you. The story of the flood, as most of us know it, begins with a world overflowing with corruption and sin. But buried deep within certain ancient manuscripts lies a far more startling explanation. Long before the rains began, there were beings giants, called the Nephilim, walking among humans. These were no ordinary men. They were the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. As cryptic texts describe, their presence was so immense and disruptive that humanity itself trembled. Some scholars suggest that these giants wielded extraordinary power, altering civilizations, and even reshaping landscapes. They were warriors, builders, and rulers beyond human comprehension. In some traditions, they are said to have introduced forbidden knowledge, teaching humans arts, technology, and secrets that were never meant to be shared. Their influence corrupted the world at a scale far beyond moral decay. By the time the flood came, it wasn't just human sin that demanded cleansing. It was a collision between worlds, between human fragility and the towering force of the Nephilim. Imagine entire cities built and ruled by beings twice the size of a man, their footsteps echoing like thunder, their shadows blotting out the sun. Ordinary humans, powerless against them, could only watch as these giants disrupted the natural order. And while mainstream retellings focused on Noah and his ark, the real catastrophe, the chaos caused by these colossal beings, has been carefully erased or hidden from our memory. Every text, every mural, even certain oral traditions, whisper fragments of this truth, hinting that the flood was not simply punishment for sin, but a desperate act to eradicate a race that threatened to dominate the world. Yet even as the waters rose, legends suggest a few Nephilim survived, their lineage possibly lingering in secret, waiting to be uncovered by those daring enough to look beyond the surface of history. As we dig deeper into the ancient texts, one detail becomes chillingly clear. The Nephilim were not just physically imposing, they were deeply intertwined with human affairs. Some accounts suggest they married human women, creating hybrid offspring who inherited both human cunning and the giants' extraordinary strength. These children, sometimes described as demigods, were said to possess abilities far beyond mortal limits, capable of feats that seem supernatural. Scholars debate the intent behind these unions. Were they accidental, or a deliberate attempt by the sons of God to influence human destiny? The implications are staggering. If giants walked the earth and left behind descendants, then many of the legends, myths, and even early civilizations might have roots in encounters with beings that defy conventional understanding. Archaeological anomalies, massive structures, unexplained artifacts, and legends of towering warriors may not be mere coincidence. Could these fragments of evidence point to a hidden reality erased from mainstream history? Furthermore, the moral panic surrounding these beings could explain why later religious texts are vague or purposefully misleading. Humans, unable to comprehend their magnitude, recorded only the fear, the AOB, and the destruction they witnessed. Flood narratives across cultures may carry echoes of this ancient encounter, tales of great destruction, massive beasts, and the near annihilation of mankind hint at a common thread, a cataclysm triggered by forces beyond ordinary human control. And yet, These stories were sanitized, molded into morality tales about sin and divine punishment, erasing the uncomfortable truth that humanity once shared the world with giants whose very existence threatened the natural order. Even today, researchers uncover skeletal remains of unusual proportions, unexplained architectural marvels, and folklore that speaks of colossal figures, suggesting that the Nephilim were far more than myths. They may have been real, their influence hidden just beneath the surface of what we call history. Beyond their physical dominance, the Nephilim were said to wield knowledge that humans were never meant to possess. Some texts describe them teaching forbidden arts, alchemy, advanced metallurgy, weaponry, and even forms of dark magic. This knowledge may have fueled the rapid growth of cities, monuments, and civilizations that, in hindsight, seem impossibly advanced for their time. Could the pyramids, megaliths, or other ancient marvels be remnants of a world influenced by these giants? The idea is both thrilling and terrifying. A civilization that existed alongside beings with the power to alter the very course of history. But with great power came conflict. The Nephilim were often described as violent and unruly, their presence creating chaos and fear. Kings and rulers struggled to maintain control, while ordinary humans lived under a shadow of intimidation and awe. It is no wonder that ancient stories speak of the end of days, or divine intervention. These were attempts to explain the incomprehensible disruption caused by beings who defied natural law. Some theories suggest that the flood itself was less about punishing human sin and more about restoring balance. Humanity could not coexist with creatures whose might exceeded imagination, and the flood became a mechanism to wipe the slate clean. However, hints survive in myths and legends worldwide. Stories of giants, monsters, and supernatural hybrids appear in Mesopotamian, Greek, and even Native American lore. Even the biblical account, carefully edited over centuries, carries faint echoes of these beings. The Nephilim were, in many ways, the original disruptors, a force that challenged divine order and human survival alike. Understanding their role sheds new light on the flood narrative, suggesting that it was not simply about morality or obedience, but about survival, power, and the fear of the unknown. By connecting these dots, we glimpse a hidden chapter of history, one where giants walked the earth, shaping our world in ways that still reverberate through time. If the Nephilim were the true architects of chaos, then the flood was a desperate measure, not a moral lesson. Ancient scribes hint that the catastrophe was designed to eliminate a threat that humans could never face alone. Consider the scale. These giants were not just physically enormous, they were strategic, intelligent, and cunning. Their hybrid offspring inherited a mix of human ingenuity and superhuman strength, making them formidable opponents. Entire communities reportedly vanished under their shadow, leaving only fragments of evidence behind. Some accounts even suggest that the Nephilim had the ability to manipulate weather, rivers, and landforms, giving them near godlike control over the environment. Could this explain the sudden and unprecedented deluge described in the texts? It's plausible that the flood was orchestrated as a reset, a way to remove these titans from the equation and give humanity a chance to survive and rebuild. Yet, remnants of their existence linger. Artifacts too massive for humans, unexplained ruins, and mysterious skeletal remains hint at a reality that mainstream history prefers to ignore. Even more unsettling is the idea that a few Nephilim may have survived, either by escaping the waters or through hidden bloodlines. If so, their legacy could persist to this day, encoded in myths, legends, and perhaps even in human genetics. The flood, then, was more than a tale of morality. It was a cataclysmic battle between ordinary humans and beings that defied imagination. Understanding this shifts the perspective entirely. The giants were not merely figures of legend. They were an existential threat that demanded drastic action. By peeling back the layers of narrative and examining both historical accounts and archaeological anomalies, we uncover a startling possibility that the deluge was not divine punishment alone, but a calculated intervention to reclaim a world overrun by titanic forces. Humanity survived, yes, but only after erasing much of the evidence, leaving us with tantalizing fragments and a lingering question. What if the giants were real? And what if their story isn't truly over? Even after the flood, whispers of the Nephilim persisted, woven into myths and legends across civilizations. In Mesopotamia, stories spoke of gods mingling with humans, creating heroes of extraordinary strength. In Greece, tales of titans and demigods echoed similar themes. Could these myths all point back to the same forgotten chapter of history? Evidence suggests that traces of their influence survived not just in stories, but in human knowledge and culture. Some scholars argue that advanced skills in architecture, metallurgy, and astronomy, seen in ancient civilizations, may have been inherited from the Nephilim's teachings. These agents, whether intentionally or not, left a blueprint for civilizations to follow, blending danger and ingenuity. Their hybrid descendants, if they existed, could have subtly guided human evolution, passing on both physical and intellectual traits. Yet, mainstream history continues to ignore these possibilities, favoring sanitized versions of events that fit moral narratives. The flood itself was not just a story of divine wrath, but a cover-up to hide the existence of beings whose very presence challenged the natural order. When examining unexplained ruins, oversized skeletal remains, and ancient accounts of battles with giants, a pattern emerges, one suggesting that human memory has been edited, selectively erasing encounters with beings that threatened our understanding of the world. The Nephilim were not villains in the traditional sense. They were forces of nature, shaping history, knowledge, and fear. To truly grasp the flood's significance, we must consider these giants not as myth, but as a hidden reality that shaped humanity's trajectory. And if even a few survived, consciously or genetically, then the story is far from over, quietly echoing through time, waiting for those willing to uncover the truth beneath centuries of suppression. The question that haunts researchers is this: if some Nephilim survived, could their bloodline still exist today? Ancient texts hint at hidden lineages, carefully concealed from history. Powerful families, rulers, and influential figures throughout time might carry fragments of this extraordinary heritage. Their influence subtle, yet undeniable. Legends describe warriors of immense strength, leaders with uncanny foresight, and visionaries who shaped the course of nations' traits that could align with Nephilim ancestry. Some theories suggest that these hybrid bloodlines were deliberately obscured, blending into human populations to avoid detection while maintaining a hidden hand in world events. Beyond genealogy, the Nephilim may have left a mark on culture and belief systems, inspiring myths of giants, monsters, and demigods, serving as cautionary tales of power and hubris. The flood may have wiped out most of these beings, but stories of extraordinary men and women hint at the survival of their essence, their legacy influencing human civilization in ways we rarely consider. From colossal ruins to unexplained artifacts, each piece of evidence serves as a whisper from the past, suggesting that humanity once shared its world with creatures beyond imagination. The more we examine history and ancient texts, the clearer it becomes. The giants were not merely figments of myth or allegory. They were real, tangible forces that shaped human evolution, culture, and survival. And even now their shadow may linger, hidden in plain sight, influencing the world in subtle, extraordinary ways, waiting for those who dare to piece together the truth buried beneath the floodwaters of time. As we trace the echoes of the Nephilim through history, another startling pattern emerges. Across continents and cultures, similar stories surface: giants living among humans, causing havoc, teaching forbidden knowledge, and leaving civilizations in awe and fear. From the towering figures in the Bible to the Jatan of Norse mythology and the Oni in Japanese folklore, the motif is remarkably consistent. Could these be different cultural memories of the same ancient reality? Archaeological sites offered tantalizing clues: oversized skeletal remains, massive stone structures, and artifacts seemingly impossible for ordinary humans to create hint at a hidden truth. Even if mainstream science dismisses these anomalies, the patterns persist, suggesting deliberate suppression or ignorance. Why would these accounts vanish, leaving only fragments? The answer may lie in fear. The Nephilim's power was overwhelming, and to record their full story could threaten the authority of early religious and political institutions. By transforming giants into legends and morality tales, history could preserve human memory while obscuring uncomfortable truths. Yet, fragments of evidence remain, waiting for those brave enough to interpret them. Could the flood itself have been a response not only to human corruption, but also to the threat these beings posed? If so, every ancient ruin, every legend of colossal beings, every inexplicable artifact becomes a breadcrumb leading back to a lost world. And within this hidden world, questions linger. How many survived? How much knowledge was preserved? And what impact did these beings truly have on human development? The story of the Nephilim challenges everything we think we know about history, forcing us to reconsider the origins of civilization and the hidden forces that shape the world we live in today. Delving even further, we encounter another unsettling idea. The Nephilim may have intentionally manipulated human societies. Ancient texts hint that these giants weren't merely destructive forces, they were influencers, shaping religion, politics, and warfare. Their offspring, blending human intelligence with superhuman abilities, could have acted as secret advisors, warlords, or rulers, guiding civilizations from the shadows. Some researchers point to unexplained advancements in architecture, agriculture, and early technology as possible evidence of their indirect influence. Imagine cities rising with precision that seemed impossible for ordinary humans. Monuments crafted with techniques lost to history. Could these achievements be attributed to the Nephilim's hidden guidance? Beyond knowledge, the fear they inspired may have been a tool, subtly enforcing social hierarchies and control. Oral traditions, myths, and legends consistently portray giants as beings whose mere presence commands obedience or fear, suggesting a deliberate cultural imprint left on humanity. Even the flood, framed as divine punishment, may have been orchestrated not just to wipe out corruption, but to reset human civilization after interference from beings too powerful to coexist with ordinary humans. This perspective reframes history itself. Human triumphs and collapses may not have been purely the result of human effort, but a complex interplay with forces far beyond comprehension. And yet, these narratives are buried, pieced together only through careful examination of scripture, myth, and archaeological anomalies. The Nephilim, once rulers among men, may have vanished from sight but not from influence. Every unexplained legend, every extraordinary figure in history, could be a shadow of their enduring presence, a reminder that humanity has always danced on the edge of forces far greater than we dare to admit. As we approach the end of this hidden narrative, one question looms larger than all others. Why has the story of the Nephilim been suppressed for millennia? The answer may lie in control, by erasing or sanitizing their existence. Early authorities could craft a version of history that emphasized obedience, morality, and divine authority, rather than the terrifying reality of living alongside beings of immense power. Yet evidence persists, scattered across time and geography, refusing to be completely erased. From massive megaliths that defy conventional construction methods to skeletons larger than any human, traces of the Nephilim are everywhere if one knows where to look. Even religious texts, carefully edited over centuries, carry subtle hints of their presence. Cryptic phrases, unexplained genealogies, and mysterious references that hint at beings far beyond human comprehension. The influence of the Nephilim may extend beyond physical remnants. Legends of superhuman feats, miraculous inventions, and ancient leaders with uncanny abilities could all reflect the lingering impact of hybrid bloodlines. Perhaps humanity's own curiosity, intelligence, and capacity for both creativity and destruction were accelerated, guided subtly by knowledge inherited from these giants. And yet, the full truth remains elusive. The Nephilim story challenges everything we think we know about history, civilization, and human potential. It forces us to question the narratives we been told, to look beyond accepted explanations, and to wonder if giants once walked among us. What remnants of their influence still shape the world today? This is a hidden chapter, a shadowy truth, waiting for those bold enough to seek it and piece together the fragments of a story deliberately hidden from human memory. The flood was only the beginning. The giants, the Nephilim, their hidden legacy, it's still out there, shaping the world in ways we barely understand. If you want to uncover more lost chapters of history and secrets erased from time, click the next video and join the journey into the forbidden truths.